Well, again, the problem is that you have to build an organization where people know each other. I, I use the metaphor. There are plants called weeds, and what defines a weed is that it grows very rapidly. A weed is typically like grows very rapidly in disturbed soil, and it's very inefficient in the use of sunlight, water, and nutrients. And it gets pushed out by real plants. Woody plants push weeds out after they become established. But after you've got a disturbance, and a presidential primary is sort of a disturbance, the plants that grow in first, that succeed, are the crappy, fast-growing things that leap for the sun, slurp up all the water that's available, and put out lots and lots of seeds, and then die. And that kind of defines a presidential primary campaign to me. You see, you'd need an ongoing source of money, not just at the time of the election. You'd have to have a source of money a year or 2 years in advance. So maybe Bloomberg, would have an ability if he actually were part of a party, because he's got people on payroll already for his various organizations. You could build an organization involving several hundred people nationally who could shift responsibility, who could cover for one another, who could delegate responsibility, who could get advice, and would have some ability, to function other than this artificial method I talk about, where I send you to a meeting, you can talk all you want, but you have absolutely no authority to spend any money, and you just pretend that you have authority, and eventually somebody somewhere makes a decision to spend money, and we FedEx a check, and we print a bunch of bad literature, and we distribute it. To get around that, you really need an organization where people knew each other for 6 months or a year or 2 years before that. And to do that, you need a source of money. And if you're talking about a couple hundred people nationally, which is not very much coverage, but if you had a couple hundred people nationally, if you're spending $50,000 a piece, which I can't imagine spending less than that, you're talking $10 million a year just on payroll. So you have to have an organization that had $10 million to spend 2 years before the election ran. Again, Bloomberg could probably do that. Somebody like Soros or John Stryker, you could build such organizations. But presidential primary campaigns are just not built to have money, $10 million, let's say, 2 years before they start voting. The one guy who tried to do it was Mitt Romney in 2008, and he discovered that spending that kind of money, if you're not careful, you end up not hiring efficient people who can actually get things done in the state. You end up hiring every high-priced consultant who pockets the money, and they keep giving you the advice that you need to spend more money on high-priced consultants. So Mitt took the advice of spending more money on high-priced consultants and burned through every cent he could raise, and discovered in 2008 things didn't work. So now Mitt has abandoned that model and has gone to the model of incompetent, inefficient people who fly into airports, get off the plane, run around like chickens with their heads cut off, yell at people for 10 days, and then get back on their planes and fly to some other state they've never been in. That seems to be the dominant model.